We'll start with Lions in Green Bay, but of course we do have open lines, and there's a lot to get to. Green Bay Lions, 8-point favorite, Detroit. And I have to admit, I'm very chesty. And this is how things have changed. I actually expect the Lions to roll tomorrow. And the reason is they kind of flushed the crappy performance last Sunday. They had their unexplainable loss in a win. Of all things. That day that you don't show up and you have that frustrating game that everybody has that you lose.
Right. Dallas has it with Arizona.
Yeah.
Like, how did Dallas lose to Arizona?
Yeah.
Kansas City has it with Denver.
Yeah, they're just these games, right? Where you can't the Lions had theirs in a win. And look, the way this league truly works, some have dubbed it the up-down theory. I don't really like that name, but I expect coming off of this past Sunday, the Lions to be much sharper. I expect them to not make the mistakes, not shoot themselves in the foot, take advantage of what they can take advantage of. And the nation will be asking the question, why do we allow a team like the Packers to waste our time on Thanksgiving Day?
I am also feeling a little chesty about this one. Just looking at what's happening here, the Packers are going to be without, I think, several key players on their team, specifically offensively. You know, it looks like they're going to be without Aaron Jones, and maybe Jaden Reed's going to be out. That's not going to help them out. And with the Lions defense, the Lions defense, I think, is eager to get back out onto the field. And let's see if they can build off of what they did late in that game, which wasn't much because there were only a few plays there. But nonetheless, they can feel good about doing their job, which was get the stop, get the ball back over to your offense, and let them do the work. But the Lions' offense is it's a well-oiled machine. Even without Jonah Jackson, they're still able to do the things they want to do, protect the quarterback and run the football. But it's difficult to throw the football against these Packers. Not difficult to run the ball against these Packers. So I think it's still a recipe for a win for the Lions, and because of the offensive issues that the Packers going to have with guys out, I'm also chesty about this one. I think that they cover the spread, which is, 6.5 points at this point?
I think it's 8.
It's gone up. I thought this morning they said it went down to 6.5, went from 7.5 to 6.5. But maybe you've got an update.
Let me just take a look at.
Let's update it.
Let's look at the up to the minute.
Yeah.
According to what's this? Chuck's notes. FanDuel. I don't need to log in. I guess I logged in anyway. The very latest, it's 7.5.
7.5.
7.5.
Yeah, I'm still chesty.
This is the Packers injury report. I'm going to do this quickly. Jair Alexander, limited practice. Devondre Campbell did not practice. Kenny Clark, limited practice. Josiah Deguara did not practice. A.J. Dillon, limited. Ruby Ford, limited. Elton Jenkins, limited. Aaron Jones did not practice. Luke Musgrave did not practice.
That's a big one.
Kelson Nixon, limited. Darnell Savage, limited. Dontavian Wicks did not practice. Emmanuel Wilson did not practice. Jaden Reed, limited. That's a long list. So chesty I am on this one. And I expect them to look sharp, the Lions to look sharp. You know what was interesting talking to Goff yesterday? One thing that caught me off guard, and I don't know how much this matters, but there were two things. One that I think matters and one that I'm not sure matters. Maybe it does. First of all, he said Thursday games don't bother him because we don't have to travel.
Big thing.
Yep. And he likes playing on Thanksgiving. He thinks it's great. And I think that can put you in a good mindset.
I agree. And it should put him in a good mindset. And it feels good that they just won. And I think that they're also looking forward to maybe getting some time off. Let's take care of business, heal up, and get ready for the stretch run.
Kang, you chesty on this one?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I mean, it's the injuries, not mostly. You read off that long list. Lions are playing well. I'm always, you guys, I'll always say this every week. I'm always very respectful of the NFL and any given Thursday, apparently this week, because there's 3 games this Thursday. So with that being said, though, it's really hard for me to find a pathway for the Packers with all those injuries. I think the Lions win, and it might be one of those games. You're right to be chesty, Doug. Could be easily double digits.
Can you think of this earlier in the season? when they played them the first time, it was also on a short week. They played Atlanta on a Sunday, beat Atlanta 20-6, and then went out to Green Bay 4 days later and beat the Packers 34-20. So it's a similar situation, except Green Bay is less healthy.
You got Green Bay's numbers in front of you because they've been good defensively since that game. Better defensively, I should say, since that game.
I think that they've been actually quite good defensively all season long. I think that Lions game is the only one where they gave up over 30 points, and I'm just looking through this. Since that game, they've given up 17, 19, 24, 3, 23, and 20. They've been pretty good. You know, that's none over 24. So that's impressive defensive football that they've played. Now, the list of who they played isn't exactly a who's who of offensive talent there. When you look at Vegas, Denver, Minnesota, in a game where I think that's where Cousins may have gotten hurt, or just before he got hurt, or just after he got hurt. Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, and then the Chargers. So both LA teams. I mean, it's not a who's who of offensive talent.
I don't think Jordan Love has the preseason Jordan Love panic that I was having, which was ridiculous and probably for someone who's been around as long as I have, probably shouldn't have worried at all, but I did. I was reacting to what my eyes showed me last, and what we all know is essentially a football scrimmage. But Love at this point, kind of lower half of the league in many statistical categories, but probably too early to say anything definitive about what his career is going to be. He may turn out to be very, very good. I just don't know that he is ready to bring a team in here and win and really push this Lions team.
He's had he's had 4 really good games in the NFL. 2 of them were to start the season. When he had a rating of 123.2 against the Bears to start and followed it up with a 113.5 against Atlanta. Now, as I recall, in one of those games, a lot of the damage was done by yards after catch. Throw the ball to a running back and they take off and they go. And then he got into a little bit of a rut there. And then 2 of the last 3 games, though, he's emerged again where he's had games where his quarterback rating was well over 100, 115.5 against the Rams and 108.5 against the Chargers. So he's capable of it. And they have a trio of young receivers, although it looks like Jaden Reed could be out for this game. But, Watson and Romeo Doubs is also very good. Doubs has turned into a reliable receiver. They had young tight ends, but looks like Musgrave is going to be perhaps, I think he actually has been ruled out, if I'm not mistaken. And then the running back situation, both of their stud running backs, maybe not studs oversaying it, but they're both hurt. So this is not optimal for the Packers to be going into a game in Detroit, who's a good team, on short rest. It just doesn't bode well, and they have to do it on the road.
Well, Packers coming off that home win over the Chargers, where the Chargers were fingertips away from maybe winning that game, and that Quentin Johnston down the sideline. Boy, that looked like it was right there. That play was there to be made, and I'm not quite sure what that corner was.
It's like Kansas City. They had their chances on Monday night.
Exactly.